So we continue with firms. We talked. We did internal growth yesterday. Today we're going to talk about external growth. And one of the examples of external growth is merger. Yeah, it's external.
Yeah.
So for external growth, we talk about merger, which means integration. So we have different types of mergers. We have horizontal, we have vertical, we have conglomerate. So we start with horizontal merger. Why do we call it horizontal merger? We call it horizontal merger because two firms are merging, are coming together at the same stage of production. That means they are producing the same products. That's what we call horizontal merger. Do you get it, please?
Yes.
So here they said the horizontal merger is the merger of two firms at the same stage of production, producing the same product. For example, the merger of two car production producers or two TV companies. There are two key motives behind the horizontal merger. One is to take greater advantage of the economies of scale. The new firm will be larger and hence may be able to produce at a lower average cost. The other is to increase market share by merging with another firm producing the same product. A direct competitor is eliminated. So what are the reasons for horizontal merger? That is the point. We said horizontal merger means two firms are coming together at the same stage of production.
Yes.
There are two reasons why two firms will come together at the same stage of production. One is to be able to enjoy economies of scale. Because if two firms are coming together, that means they are expanding their scale of production. It means they are expanding their scale of production. And because they are expanding their scale of production, they'll be able to enjoy economies of scale, reduced average cost of production. That's the first point. The second point is that two firms coming together may allow them to have large market share. Because as soon as firm A and firm B comes together, that means a competitor is eliminated. So firm A and firm B will bring up together their market, their customer base. So that increases their customer base, which increases the market share. So two reasons why there's always horizontal integration or horizontal merger is that firms will be able to enjoy economies of scale, and two, it allows the merging firms to increase their market share. Is it clear?
Yes.
Another possible benefit that may arise from horizontal integration is rationalization. When we talk about rationalization, here we're talking about when firms are able to fully utilize their resources. They are rational. Maybe they are irrational because they don't use resources well. But if firm A has its strength, firm B has its weakness, or firm A has its strength and weakness, firm B has its own strength and weakness. So if firm A and firm B are coming together, it means they'll be able to work on their strength and weakness, and that might allow them to rationalize. So resources that they don't use, they might start using them. You don't get it?
Yes.
Another possible benefit that may arise from the horizontal merger is rationalization. If the two firms had not been using all their resources fully, merger could enable them to sell off the redundant resources, for instance, or the new firm may also be able to save on managerial staff. There's a risk, however, with horizontal merger that merged firms may experience the economies of scale. Also, a large firm can be difficult to control. It may also be difficult to integrate the two firms if they initially had different management structure or are located some distance apart. The benefits of merger, horizontal merger, is that there is what we call rationalization. Rationalization means that you will be able to use your resources judiciously. So if there are some resources firms are not using fully, as soon as they merge together, they might be able to sell off those resources. It won't be wasting. Yes. They won't be wasting resources anymore. Is it clear that way now? Yes. So rationalization means that firms will be using their resources judiciously. They will be rational in using resources. They won't be wasting things. Another advantage is that there will be what we call managerial economies of scale. They will be able to get the best workers. They will be able to get the best skilled managers within the industry. Within the industry, because two firms are coming together already. Yeah. So the best managers, they might be able to retain the best manager among the two firms. So they will be retaining the best staff, the best manager among the two firms, because the two firms are merging. So that's an advantage. But the problem about horizontal merger is that it might be difficult to merge company A, company B together, especially if they have different legal structures, or maybe they are distance apart. So it becomes difficult. So these are the problems about horizontal merger. And the last problem about horizontal merger is diseconomies of scale. They might experience diseconomies of scale based on failed managers, based on the fact that managers might not be doing what they are supposed to do, paying managers for doing nothing because of expansion, or they lack control, they lack organization. So they start losing customers because they lack information. So a lot of things are happening because the firm becomes so big that they are unable to control it. That is the economies of scale. Lack of information or poor decision making. Is it clear? So that is about horizontal merger. So we go to vertical. For vertical merger, this occurs when the firm merges with another firm involved with the production of the same product, but at a different stage of production. That was when we talked about a pharmaceutical company and a pharmacy. Primary stage and secondary stage, or secondary stage and tertiary stage. Is it clear? So it can take the form of a vertical merger backwards or vertical merger forward. So there's forward vertical merger and there's backward vertical merger. Why do we call it backward vertical merger? We call it backward because the firm merges with a firm that is at the source of supply of raw material. It is backward because this firm is merging with a firm that is in the primary stage of production. So a firm in the secondary stage merging with a firm in the primary stage. That is backward vertical. Do you understand backward here? Then for forward vertical, it is when the firm merges with or take over a market outlet. That means a firm in the primary sector is taking over a firm in the secondary sector or the tertiary sector. That's forward vertical. Is it clear?
It's like vice versa.
Vice versa, yeah. I think it's clear. So here they said, the two key motives behind this form of vertical merger are to ensure that there are sufficient outlets and the products are stored and displayed well in high quality outlets. A firm may also hope that such a merger may help in the development and marketing of new products. Why do we have vertical merger? We have vertical merger, one, because you need to keep resources. You know, if you merge with a firm that is in the production, that is in the primary or in the primary stage, it means you'll be getting enough raw materials from the firm. That allows you to produce more. It increases your output.
It might reduce the cost of the
It might reduce your cost too.
Yes.
So it makes your goods, raw materials available. That's the first point they're making there. The second point is that it might allow that firm to sell quality products.
Yes.
Another reason is that it increases the outlets of the firm, branches of the firm, because now they can increase their output. And in the course of increasing their output, they will have more and more.
Yes.
Is it clear? Okay. So go to conglomerates. For conglomerates, we said the conglomerate merger involves the merger of two firms making different products. So firm A that is in the educational sector is merging with firm B that is in the health sector. So they are different, they have different production, but they are coming together. So that is what we call conglomerate merger. Is it clear? So what is the main motive behind this? The main motive behind this is what we call diversification. And what is diversification? You are able to spread your risk. So if this business is not doing well, that business will do well. So you have a business in the education industry, you have a business in the health industry. If the education industry is not doing well, the health industry will do well. That's what we call diversification, spreading of risk. Is it clear?
Yes.
So we move on. The effect of merger on consumers. A merger can bring advantage and disadvantage to consumers. If it leads to a greater economies of scale, the effect of merger on consumers. A merger can bring the advantage and disadvantages to consumers. If it leads to greater economies of scale, consumers may enjoy lower prices. Because with economies of scale, it means firms will be able to sell at a reduced price. And selling at a reduced price means that consumers will be able to buy at affordable rates, which is good for consumers. Yes or no? They may also benefit from high quality products and innovation. So because firms are enjoying economies of scale, because they are enjoying rationalization, so it means that businesses will be able to produce high quality products and they'll be able to come up with new ideas because they are witnessing economies of scale. Yes. That's an advantage for consumers. Yes or no?
Yes.
If the merger increases the efficiency of and this merger will increase efficiency because firms are doing well. That means they are efficient enough. Both allocative efficiency and productive efficiency would occur. So that is what they are talking about then. So merger would bring about allocative and productive efficiency. Is it clear? We go on. However, the last paragraph there. However, if merger results into a diseconomies of scale, consumers may experience higher prices and poorer quality. There's also a risk in the case of horizontal merger. I will explain it again.
Yeah.
So I think we talk. So however, if the merger results in diseconomies of scale, consumers may experience higher prices and poorer quality. There's also a risk in the case of horizontal merger or reduced choice of consumers and use of greater market power by the merged firm to push up prices. The problem about merger is that, especially when there's diseconomies of scale. Let's talk about the problem of merger. The first problem about merger is diseconomies of scale. And if there's diseconomies of scale, firms would not have any other choice than to increase their prices because they will be incurring more cost. They have to sell at a higher price.
And they will not have the motive to produce an high quality.
And they won't have that motive to produce quality products.
Yes.
So that's the problem. That's the first problem about merger. The second point is that with merger, the choices of consumers reduces. So before now, there is firm A, B, C, D, E, F in the industry.
Yes.
But firm A and B has come together. So it remains C, D, E, F.
Yes.
So that means consumers will not be able to have more choices. The choice of consumers reduces.
Yeah.
And those firms that merge might push up prices because they have greater hand. Because they are so big now.
They will control the market.
They will control the markets.
Yes.
So these are the problems about merger. Is it clear?
Yes.
So go to economies and diseconomies of scale. Economies and diseconomies of scale. The meaning of economies of scale. Economies of scale are the advantages in the form of lower long-run average cost of producing on a larger scale. When economists and entrepreneurs talk about economies of scale, they are usually referring to internal economies of scale. These are the advantages gained by an individual firm by increasing its size, that is having larger or more plants. The advantages come in a variety of forms. So we're talking about internal economies of scale.
Yes.
Is a cost advantage you have as a business because you have increased your output, because you have increased your production scale, because you have expanded your business. So the advantage you get or the gain you have is what we call economies of scale. I think that's a scale.
Yes.
So the other type of economies of scale are external economies of scale. These are the advantages available to all the firms in an industry, resulting from growth of the industry. So if the industry grows, if the educational industry grows and all the schools are enjoying the advantage, cost advantage of it, that is external economies of scale. Is it clear?
Yes.
Go to the meaning of these economies of scale. These economies of scale are essentially and the disadvantages of being too large. A firm that increases its scale of operations to a point where it encounters rising long-run average costs is said to be experiencing internal diseconomies of scale. External diseconomies of scale arise from an industry being too large, causing the firms within the industry to experience higher long-run average costs. So we have internal diseconomies of scale and external diseconomies of scale. We call it internal diseconomies of scale because you have expanded to the extent that your long-run average cost starts increasing.
Yes.
That is internal. And for external diseconomies of scale, it means the industry is too big now that firms in that industry start incurring long-run average cost. That is external. I think it's clear.
Yes.
So internal economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. As the firm changes its scale of operation, its average costs are likely to change. Figure 20.2 shows the usual U shape. So it is always a U shape. So the average cost is U shaped. So what happens? Average costs fall at first, reach an optimum point, and then rise. Your long-run average cost is U-shaped, which means that at first, your average cost of production should fall to reach the optimum level. As soon as it reaches the optimum point, you start witnessing increase in average cost, increase in the long-run average cost, which is the economies of scale. So this side, the horizontal side to the optimum point is economies of scale. After that, you witness diseconomies of scale.
What should be the reasons?
Reasons for economies of scale.
From economic to diseconomic scale.
Yeah, one of the reasons for diseconomies of scale is what do we call it? We talked about, let's talk about reasons for external or types of economies of scale. We have managerial economies of scale, we have risk bearing, we have risk bearing, we have managerial economies of scale, we have technical economies of scale, we have purchasing economies of scale. Now, each one could be a reason for these economies of scale. So when you buy so much that it becomes a waste, that is these economies of scale. When you become so big that there's information gap within the industry, decision making starts to become slower. There's communication gap between the industry, between the firms.
And the cost.
That is these economies of scale. Do you get it?
I think resources.
Poor communication can lead to these economies of scale. Poor
Yeah, poor
communication.
Manager.
Yeah, poor communication. These reasons for economies of scale are these reasons for the economies of scale. So whatever is the reason you have the economies of scale. So those reasons, if they start declining, it becomes diseconomies of scale.
It's the opposite of the economic scale to its economic scale.
Yeah, it's clear that way.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So in a very capital intensive industries, such as oil refining, London average cost may fall over a considerable range of output. In the other cases, average cost may fall relatively quickly to their lowest point, the minimum efficient scale. So then it remains constant over a large period of time. So let's look at these graphs here. If in the first one, your average cost, as soon as you increase your output from zero up, as soon as you increase your output, your average cost of production should fall. But when you increase your output more than the optimum point, then you start witnessing these economies of scale. Do you get it? So that's the first point, the inter-economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. Your long run average cost will start increasing if you start producing be above the optimum point, which is the U point. The U point here is the optimum. So when you exceed it, you're going to witness return on long run average cost increase. Do you get it? Your cost should fall. Look at it. When you step on this, when you step on this place, when you step here, this is go down, yes or no? So when you continue to move, when you move here, it goes up again.
Yes, because
that's the point. Yeah. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
So a downward sloping curve, your long run average cost should be downward sloping. That means as soon as you are increasing your output, your cost should what? Should reduce. That is the point there. Any questions about it?
No.
So the graph is just stating to us.
What about the L shape?
The L shape. That is when you must not that at that point in time you are in diseconomies.
Diseconomies.
Yeah. You are in diseconomies. You start witnessing diseconomies of scale.
Costs will be the same. I mean, it will be
it would have increased. You must not.
Yeah.
Yes, it would have increased.
But after the L shape, it will be the U shape.
It will go back like this.
Yeah,
but at that point in time, your long run average cost would have increased.
So the L shape is before being the U shape because the output will be more of it.
No.
Oh, no.
No. Your economies of scale your average cost should be U-shaped, meaning that as your output increases, your cost of production, your average cost of production should fall.
Yes, yes.
So as soon as you exceed your optimum point, you will witness this.
That's economic scale.
Yes.
But the L shape is even the same. It's economic scale.
The L shape.
The graph.
Then at that point in time, you are witnessing it's constant. It means you must not exceed that it stays. Yes. Anything after that, business is done.
The cost must be the same.
Yeah, at that point in time, your output remains the same. Your output is about your output here.
Yes.
Your output does not increases; it remains constant. That's the L shape.
Yes.
Did you get it or not?
Yes, the output will be constant.
There's what we call what do we call it? There's what we call minimum efficient scale. You must not exceed the minimum efficient scale.
Yes.
Minimum efficient scale occurs at your downward slope. When you get to L, there's a problem because at that point in time, your output has increased. Anything outside that is diseconomies of scale.
Yes, it's a good thing.
Do you get it or not?
Yes, it's a good thing.
your economies of scale. When, as a firm, you have to maintain your economies of scale. Maintaining it means that at least if you can't, you shouldn't produce more. Stay at the level. That level you are staying, that is constant, is your L shape. Anything more than that is diseconomies of
You
scale.
don't risk it. That's it.
You don't.
Yes, yes.
Is it clear now? Okay. So external economies and diseconomies of scale. External economies of scale and diseconomies of scale have a different effect on firms' long-run average cost curve. In the case of external economies of scale, a firm's
Yeah.
okay. In the case of external economies of scale, a firm's average cost will be reduced not by changes in the firm's output, but by the changes in its industry output. So there is difference between internal economies of scale and external economies of scale, these economies of scale. In the case of external economies of scale, output, a firm will not enjoy economies of scale. It will only it will start enjoying economies of scale, these economies of scale. It will start witnessing these economies of scale if the industry is witnessing these economies of scale. That is external. That's the point that they said. The long run, these economies of scale have a different effect on firms' long run average cost curve. In the case of economies of scale, external economies of scale, a firm's average cost will be reduced not by changes in the firm's output, but by changes in its industry output. So a firm would incur a long run average cost if it is external, based on the fact that the industry is witnessing increase in output that leads to economies of scale. So that's the point they are showing us here. Look at the effect of external economies of scale. The effect of external economies of scale here is showing that the firm is witnessing increase in the long run, reduction in the long run average cost because the output of the industry is increasing. Do you see? But as soon as the firm produces more than that, then the long run average cost will increase. Then the firm is witnessing these economies of scale based on the fact that the industry is witnessing these economies of scale. So at LRAC1, long run average cost curve 1, it means that there's economies of scale.
Yes,
Do you get it?
yes, yes, yes.
The long run average cost and the long run average curve 1 must tally. This is external economies of scale. The industry is witnessing economies of the industry is increasing its output, which makes it to enjoy economies of scale.
Yes.
It will have a reflection on firms. That's why they are together on the same line. But if the industry starts witnessing these economies of scale, it will increase.
The same as the individual. It will be
Yeah.
the same in the
So it will increase.
industry, yeah.
I think it's clear.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Now go to types of internal economies of scale. I said we have purchasing economies of scale, right?
Yeah.
So that is the same as buying economies of scale. So these are probably the best known type. Large firms that buy raw materials in bulk and place large orders for capital and equipment usually receive a discount. So there's buying economies of scale or purchasing economies of scale because you purchase large quantities. When you purchase large quantities, you enjoy discount. Yes, or trade discount, not cash discount. Cash discount comes when you are being encouraged to pay promptly.
Yeah.
But trade discount means you are being encouraged to buy in bulk.
Yes, yes.
Do you still remember that in accounting?
Yes, yes, yes.
So purchasing economies of scale or buying economies means that firms witness long run average cost, reduction in the long run average cost because they buy in bulk in large quantities. So they get discount. So the discount they get makes a unit of the product reduce.
Yes, yes.
That is the point. Selling economies. The total cost of processing orders, packing the goods, and transporting them does not rise in line with the number of orders. For instance, it costs less than twice as much to send 10,000 washing machines to customer than it does to send 5,000 machines. For selling economies of scale, it means that when you sell in large quantities, you would witness reduction in the cost of transportation. You might use a lorry or a truck to send 1,000 laptops, If you are sending 100 laptops, you still spend the same cost because of the distance, yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So sending 1,000 lorries or sending 1,000 laptops in a lorry is more beneficial than sending 100 laptops in the same truck.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's what we call selling economies. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we have managerial economies. I told you about managerial. As I said, managerial economies implies that firms, because they are big, they can attract the best skilled managers into the industry. They can afford specialist workers because they are big. Small industries cannot do that. So because you are big, you are able to attract skilled workers. That is what we call managerial economies of scale.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we have labor economics. Large firms can engage in division of labor among their other staff. For example, workers of specializes in a particular aspect of the production process. So there's labor economies of scale, which means large firms can use division of labor, which is the breaking down of production process into different stages, which each stage can be performed by different people. So there's labor economies of scale because large firms have large numbers of workers that they can switch from one job, from one function to another. Small firms who don't have those luxury.
Like skillful employees.
Yes, and they can switch from one, they can take some people from this department to that department. Small firms cannot do that. Is it clear?
Yes.
They'll go to financial economies of scale. For financial economies of scale, we're talking about the ability of larger firms to be able to attract sources, to be able to attract finance from different sources of finance. Large firms, banks will give large firms money. They will borrow them, yes or no? Because they know they will be able to pay back. But large firms will not do that to smaller firms. Do you understand?
Not do that with small.
Banks will not do that with smaller firms. Do you get it?
Yes.
So that's what we call financial economies of scale. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we have technical economies of scale. For technical economies of scale, we're talking about firms' ability to be able to invest in the latest technology, to be able to invest in equipment and machine because they are big.
Yes, yes.
That is technical economies of scale. Is it clear? We have research and development economies. For research and development economies, we're talking about firms' ability to invest on research, to invest in innovation, inventions, because they are big. They have the financial capability. Small firms cannot research and develop. So large firms have the opportunity to do research and development. That is the point there. And the last one is risk bearing, which is diversification. Large firms are able to go into different productions.
Yes.
They can produce bottles, they can produce water, they can produce anything because they are large. They can produce different products because they are large. Small firms cannot do that. So large firms are able to spread their risk because they can diversify. Is it clear? Yes. The last point about the last type of economies of scale is risk bearing. When we talk about risk bearing, we're talking about diversification. As a large firm, you are able to produce different kinds of products. You are able to, you are able to diversify your production. You can produce different products. You can render different services because you are large. You have the financial capability to do so. Small firms cannot. That is the point there. Small firms do not have the financial capability
Because it's risky.
to diversify production. It's risky. They don't even have the money.
Yes.
But risk bearing means that as a business, you are able to diversify. So if product A is not selling, product B would sell. If product B is not selling, product C might sell. If the branch in Telecomata is not selling, the branch in Siraj could sell. So that is what we call diversification. For example, the schools around. Some international schools have branches in different places, in different locations. Yes or no?
Yes.
This is what we call spreading risk bearing. Small firms don't have the luxury to do that.
Yes.
Is it clear now? So
yeah,
it is part of economies of scale because you are able to spread your risk. You're not putting your eggs in one basket. Is it clear?
Understand, yeah.
So go to for internal economies of scale, going beyond the certain output and cost of firm's average cost to rise. This is because a firm may encounter a number of problems, including one, difficulties controlling the firm. Because the firm is so big now, you lack the ability to organize them. Poor communication happens. But that is not lack of organization. They are too big to control.
Lack of control, yeah.
So that's will lead to the economies of scale. So to solve that problem, you can start thinking of the layering, reduce the hierarchy within the organization. Yes. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
The second reason for this economies of scale is communication problem. So that's why communication problem. It can be difficult to ensure that everyone in large firms has full knowledge about their duties and available opportunities, such as training, etc. Also, they may not get the opportunity to effectively communicate their views and ideas to the management team because the firm is so big.
Yes, sir.
As a result, not everyone within that industry, within that firm, in that company, would get information as at when due. Some will be missing information.
Yes.
And when there is information gap, there is communication problem. Clear?
Yes.
The third reasons for the economies of scale is poor industrial relationship. Large firms may be at a greater risk from a lack of motivation of workers, strikes, and other industrial actions. This is because workers may have less sense of belonging, longer time may be required to solve problems, and more conflicts may arise due to the presence of diverse opinions. When we talk about poor industrial relation, because the firm is too big, a lot of workers will feel neglected. They'll feel their effort is not known because the industry is big.
Yes, yes.
The company is so big that maybe before now you used to see your manager, but now you can't even see your manager. So you feel like, oh, the manager is not doing well with you. You think the company is not seeing your effort.
So you're less
You feel
important.
you feel demotivated because you think you're not important as you used to be.
Yes.
So that's the problem. And when there are a lot of problems to solve, it takes longer period of time to solve them because you have to call A and B and C. You have to call people together. You have to call different departments. When problems arises, it's difficult to solve when the company is large. That is poor industrial relation. Is it clear?
Yes, yes.
So go to external economies of scale. For external economies of scale, we're talking about a larger industry can enable the firms in that industry to reduce the average cost in a number of ways, including this. One, a skilled labor force. When you develop a skilled labor force, it means the supply of labor, the industry will be supplying labor that are skilled. This will increase efficiency of firms. This will increase productivity of firms. So availability of skilled workers based on the development of workers within that industry is an external economies of scale because firms will be enjoying the long run average cost. They'll be able to employ workers that are skilled.
Yes, yes.
You get the first point.
Yes.
The second point, a good reputation. An area can gain a reputation for a high quality production. For example, Bordeaux's region of France is well known for its high quality wine production, and the Maldives has a reputation of being a popular holiday resort. So, a good reputation. Locations might have important reputation, like people talk good about them. People think good about those locations. As a result, you setting up there would boost your sales. Like you having a tourist company in Maldives, you selling a wine or buying a wine from France. These places are places that they are highly rated. Because they are highly rated, it helps your business. Just for example, let's say schools in Siraj.
Yes.
The schools in Siraj are the best schools around. A lot of people go to Siraj. So they're going to Siraj because the reputation of Siraj talks about good schools. That is what they're talking about there. Is it clear?
Yes.
Especially suppliers of raw materials and capital goods. So because the industry is getting bigger, a lot of specialists, like those firms that supply raw materials, basically for that industry are setting up. Now you have bookshops around, libraries around now. Why? Because there are a lot of schools around. So schools are able to get their supply, not when they travel anymore, they can get it around. They have school uniforms available around now. It's because those businesses can come in based on the fact that they will sell to schools.
Yes.
So the schools are so much now. The industry is becoming bigger. So new businesses are setting to help those businesses. Is it clear?
Yes.
Specialist services. Universities and colleges may run courses for workers in large industries and banks, and transport firms may provide services especially designed to meet the particular needs of firms and industry. So because the industry is becoming bigger, there will also be specialist services. Now, look at it now. There are cost centers around Tripoli, courses center, yes or no? There were not much cost center before now. But when there are a lot of schools these days, a lot of call center are setting up too. So when you finish in school, you go to your call center. Do you get it?
Yes.
So this is what we call specialist services. Is it clear?
Yes.
Specialist markets. Some large industries have specialist selling places and arrangements such as the corn exchange and insurance market. So because the industry is becoming bigger, they are able to set up their own markets. So the education industry, now we have the JODA exams, yes or no?
Yes.
The JODA exam is for the foreign examination. So it becomes special. When there were no much schools, there was no foreign foreign Ministry of Education. There was no department for foreign education. But because there are a lot of foreign schools now, the Department for Foreign Education was created to deal with the demand of the market, to deal with the demand of the students. So you can register for the exams. That's the specialist market there. Is it clear?
Yes.
Improved infrastructure. If the industry is becoming bigger, they would need to take care of communication, electricity, and the rest. Look at the roads in Siraj. The government might choose to repair the roads in Siraj because a lot of students passes through there. They might need to improve communication in Siraj. They might need to improve electricity because, okay, for example, there are a lot of banking industries, like a lot of banking firms in this country. Government think, oh, the problem about banking is because there's no electricity or there's no good internet. Now, government might improve the internet network. Government might improve electricity so that banks can, increase their operations in here. So this is improved infrastructure.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So external diseconomies of scale. Just as firms can grow too large, so can industry. With more and larger firms in an industry, in an area, there will be an increase in transport with more vehicles bringing in workers and raw materials and taking out workers and finished products. This may cause congestion, increased journey time, higher transport costs for firms, and possibly reduce workers' productivity. The growth of an industry may also result in increased competition for resources, pushing up the prices of key sites, capital equipment, and labor. When there is external economies of scale, the problem about external economies of scale is external diseconomies of scale. External diseconomies of scale might arise if a lot of firms are setting up. Because a lot of firms are setting up, raw materials might not be enough to produce anymore. As a result, prices will rise. That is diseconomies of scale. Cost of transportation might increase. So all these things, all these disadvantages that might happen based on expansion would lead to external diseconomies of scale. Is it clear?
Yes.
Any question about it? So we have questions.
Yes.
This is the first one. So multiple. Okay. What is most likely to be supplied by small firms?
By small firm.
Yeah.
Shoe repair.
Thank you. Shoe repair. Question 2. A toy manufacturer merges with a chemical company. What type of merger is this? Conglomerate. Thank you.
Yeah.
The third one. What is meant by financial economies of scale? Financial economies of scale.
Wait. Lower average cost occurring because of the use of large. No. It's A.
No, the answer is C.
C.
Lower average cost due to the ability of large firms to borrow more cheaply.
Oh yeah.
Banks will be able to give them money
Yes, yes.
because they will consider them as low risk, unlike small firms. So the answer is C. The last question. Why might the growth of an industry reduce a firm's cost of production?
Why do what?
Why might the growth of an industry reduce a firm's cost of production? That is external economies of scale. So what could happen to have external economies of scale? That's the question.
What will happen if to have external?
What would cause external economies of scale? Yes.
No, it's not A.
Okay.
And it's not C. It's not C.
It is C.
It is C.
Yeah. They say, what might the growth of industry? Why might the growth of industry reduce a firm's cost of production? Why might the growth of an industry reduce the firm? Yeah. What is external economies of scale? External economies of scale might be as a result of development of specialist markets.
Oh yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
So the answer is C. Is it clear?
Yes.
All right, we'll stop here.